Seriously, I'm glad she's out. I'm glad she's free. I don't want to see someone sit over there in a Russian prison for something as simple as pot possession when it's clear they're being held as a political prisoner. But, and it comes with a big but, which she doesn't have. But, if you're, listen, man, a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsibility comes into play on her end. Like, you're going over to a foreign country. First off, you should know their laws. Like, you should know the laws of a foreign country that you're going to be visiting and working in, which is what she was doing. She was playing basketball there. Not many people go to Russia on vacation. So you should know the laws of the foreign country you're going into. And if you don't know the laws, look them up when you're there, right? And when you're there, if you're looking them up and you're like, oh my God, I have something that's illegal in this country, don't take it on a plane where, they check your baggage. And if you're going to do all those things, if you're going to ignore the first 3 pieces of advice I gave you, don't do it in a country that America's at the highest amount of geopolitical tensions with since the 1950s. Maybe don't do that. Like, if you're going to ignore everything else I did, go get high in Switzerland. I don't care. But Russia? I'm sorry, a little bit of common sense has to prevail here. That's all I'm saying. We've got to use a little bit of common sense on our end. Now, here's a little bit about the individual they traded for. First off, the WNBA is loving this because this is the most publicity any of their players has ever gotten, and it had nothing to do with basketball, and I think that's very appropriate. So they traded for Brittney Griner, Victor Bout. Victor Bout is an arms dealer, an international arms dealer who was arrested for selling weapons to a South American terrorist group that was planning to use them to open fire on U.S. planes on their coast and commit acts of terror on U.S. soil. At one point, Victor Bout was the number 2 most wanted man in America on the FBI's most wanted list behind who? Osama bin Laden. You might have heard of him. We're talking about the Cheneys. He knows them pretty well. You're awful quiet right now, Ukrainian flag emojis. What's going on? I thought Russia was our greatest ally, our greatest enemy, our biggest national security threat. What happened? We just gave an international arms dealer whose last words before he was sentenced to prison were something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, I may not get out today, I may not get out tomorrow, I may not get out in 20 years, but I will get out and I'll see to it that your empire comes to a fall. We gave him to what's supposedly our greatest national security threat. I mean, obviously Russia's bad. So bad that Zelensky has time to take selfies with Sean Penn. But it's bad, okay? And to everyone saying, oh, you wouldn't be so critical of this trade if she were an NBA player. First off, well, I guess it depends who. Like, if it were LeBron, yeah, keep him. Jason Tatum? You give up the nuclear launch codes, baby. Like, the Celtics got a real shot this year. Larry Bird, it wouldn't even happen. Larry Bird would have escaped on his own. Wouldn't even happen. Like Hopper in Stranger Things would have escaped from the Russian gulag on his own. Wouldn't even have been an issue with Larry Bird. The United States got so ripped off in this deal. This is like, those of you that don't know basketball, the Hornets actually drafted Kobe Bryant, right? The Hornets drafted him and traded him to the Lakers for a player named Vlade Divac. That's the equivalent of this. Like, Joe Biden, if he were an NBA GM, would be fired for this trade. Like, he would be like the guy who didn't draft Michael Jordan with the first overall pick. Should have let Danny Ainge do it. Like, he would have gotten every single one of Russia's first-round picks through like the year 2038. Sorry, too many basketball references. I'm done. Not everyone watches basketball. A lot of you probably don't. I don't know. I stomach the wokeness. I've enjoyed basketball since I was a kid, and I usually watch it without the sound. But let's make this clear here. Joe Biden Like, this is what an absolute clown world we live in. The people who don't think you should be able to own a gun to defend your family, right? Those people. And also don't think you should be able to smoke weed. Just traded an international arms dealer to free someone who was in jail for cannabis possession. What a effing joke. What an absolute clown world we live in. The gun control thing's done after this. Don't want to hear a word. And I know you'll still talk about it. But I don't want to hear a word. That argument's over. You don't trust American citizens to have handguns. They said Biden said in a press conference the other day. He said it's crazy that Americans can have semi-automatic weapons, period. That's like 90% of them. You don't trust Americans to have you don't trust the single mom living by herself in the middle of Detroit to have a handgun to protect her and her kids. But you'll give an international arms dealer over to what is supposedly our greatest national security threat, the country that we're supposedly every day at risk of going to hot war with the second largest military in the world, largest nuclear arsenal in the world. You'll give them to him. You'll give them to them. That's great. We're done talking about gun control because obviously you think it's a joke. I mean, your former boss, Barack Obama, was caught selling guns to Mexican drug cartels, so I don't know why this is a surprise. You guys are hypocrites. We already talked about this. It's all about achieving power for you. So yeah, I don't want to hear it on the whole gun control thing. We're done. We're done talking about that. And Russia's they're not gonna send this guy to the front lines. No. They'll be smart. Like right now, we're financing a proxy war against them. You know what they're gonna have him go do? Same thing we're doing to them. So yeah, we're giving Ukraine weapons to shoot at Russia and accidentally shoot at Poland, right? What do you think he's going to do? He's going to go right back to those terrorist groups. He's going to go over to Middle Eastern terrorist groups. And he's going to sell them weapons to use on U.S. soil. Joe Biden doesn't think you should have an AR-15, but he has no problem freeing a guy that he knows is going to sell machine guns, RPGs, other types of explosives, dirty bombs, and God, let's hope not nuclear weapons to terrorist groups. But if the guy at a gun store sells you a magazine or a gun with more than 10 rounds in the magazine, he goes to jail. Victor Bout is free, but the gun store owner goes to jail. Just like how the tattoo artist that tattoos an 8-year-old goes to jail and loses his license, but the doctor that does a sex change surgery, well, he's helping advance human rights. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.